For centuries, the Ohio River has been a source of life, commerce, and transportation for the Upper Ohio Valley. The mighty Ohio carves through 6 states over a 981-mile path. Here, in Monroe County, the Ohio River is just as vital to civilization as anywhere else. The river is dotted with a series of locks and dams, controlling water levels and allowing a variety of vessels to pass through. The Hannibal Locks and Dam is just one of those structures, spanning the 1,098-foot wide artery of water and providing safety and security for all of those downstream. The Hannibal Locks and Dam replaced locks 14 and 15, which were the older style wicket dams.
So when it was constructed here, the dam took the place of the wickets, and the lock chambers here, the construction of the dam was started in '65. The lock chambers went into operation in 1973, and the dam was completed roughly in '75, and that's when the project was dedicated.
There are only 2 of the older wicket-type dams still left, Lock 52 and 53. The background is a sample of the wickets that were raised and lowered to guarantee a 9-foot draft for shipping enters on the Ohio River system. The new locks and dams that we have here now will give you a 12-foot draft between each lock and dam.
With the wicket-style locks becoming obsolete, a new style of locks were necessary to handle the modern types of vessels passing through.
They drew up plans for these new types where they can take tows through in one solid section instead of having to break them in half. And it's also made it possible to cut the time necessary to go through these locks and dams in half.
When construction started on the Hannibal Locks and Dam in 1965, the area where the dam exists was much different.
It took out all of Hannibal between Route 7 and the river, including gas stations, lodge halls, apartments, and many homes. There was nothing left on the river side of State Route 7 going through Hannibal.
Most of the recreational area surrounding the dam was once a wet area, but it now consists of fill from the dredging of the river so it could be expanded for the dam.
Our main mission here is to navigate the pool to make sure that the towing industry has a navigational channel all the way upriver. We try to do things here as safe as we possibly can and make sure that the public's safe when they use the facility and look out for them.
Within 40 years of operation, the Hannibal Locks and Dam has witnessed several historical vessels pass through it, from submarines to passenger ships.
A number of years ago, we had the submarine Requiem, which was brought up the Ohio River and taken to Carnegie Institute at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I followed this submarine up the river. And the people would just come out in groves. The bridge in New Martinsville was lined with cars and people. The riverbanks. I met the boat originally at Bulla Island Locks and Dams early in the morning at daybreak, and there were people had camped out all night just to get a chance to see this submarine on its way to Pittsburgh.
In a similar fashion to the submarine, a number of World War II vessels have journeyed up the Ohio as well, including the LST-325.
But there were hundreds of them built during World War II at all the inland shipyards at Ambridge, Jabot, Point Pleasant. Any shipyard you could think of was building these identical crafts for use in the Pacific Theater during World War II. And it is always a big draw when it comes up here. It's only been up here twice, but it's very interesting and brings out a lot of people, particularly veterans, come to see this landing craft coming up the Ohio.
Perhaps one of the most notable types of ships to pass through the locks are the large sternwheelers.
One of the biggest draws along the Ohio River, and that went on for many, many years, we'll start with the Delta Queen. The Delta Queen would come up here sometimes at night or down at night, 11:30, 12 o'clock in the morning. And there would be people coming in to watch the boat go through in Baypit pajamas, nightgowns. They'd jump out of bed and they'd come as they were. Hundreds of people. And there were people that followed it, say from Clarington, Sardis. They would come and converge here in hopes of getting the calliope music. The people of this valley and this community love esteemed calliope music that they would get from the Delta Queen. And the same as the Mississippi Queen, but in the American Queen. Of course, the American Queen is newer and hasn't really made that many trips up here. But the old Mississippi Queen made many, many trips. I've been on her many, many times. And has a calliope that is like no other. When you hear it, you would recognize it in an instant.
The newest of the majestic sternwheelers is the American Queen, which is still in operation today. Her maiden voyage up the Ohio River took place in 1995.
I met the boat at Marietta early on a foggy morning. You could hear the whistle blowing, but you couldn't see the boat. I waited, I videotaped. There were people on the levee, they had bonfires on the levee, and people were waiting on, but we couldn't see nothing. Just all at once, out of the fog, came this monstrous big boat, the American Queen, on its first trip up the river. It had governors on it, had all kinds of dignitaries. And when it came into Hannibal here, I don't know whether I've ever seen that many people in this little community as there was to see the American Queen.
Another unique aspect to the Hannibal Locks and Dam is the attached hydro plant, which is owned and operated by the city of New Martinsville and was added on in the mid-1980s. This is one of the few modern dams to have a hydro plant attached.
They actually take our first 8 feet of water flow that we would be running on the dam, and they run that through their plant through a turbine system to produce electricity, and then they go ahead and put it out on the grid and put it out for sale. Roughly here, the boat that's behind us now, it's pushing out, that's a commercial towboat. 80% of our commodity here at the lock is coal. It will get bigger with the natural gas drilling going on. There'll be a lot more shale gas locking through here. Our tonnage here, we roughly do about 45,000 tons a year of different cargo.
Around 325 commercial vessels are locked each month at the dam. Along with recreational craft in the summer months, it averages around 1,200 a year.
We lock anything here from jet skis, kayaks, recreational craft, anything like that we lock here.
The locks are guaranteed for at least a half a century, but with the current locks being 40 years old, maintenance work will be a common sight as improvements are made to increase the life of the structure.
Some of the updates that's been done here since I've been working at this project, a lot of our dam controls was all manual. The lock gate chambers, the controls was manual. Everything now is updated to PLCs, programmable logical controllers. So a lot of the dam gates and things are run on computers.
Updates will continue at the dam to help keep it environmentally friendly and structurally sound, guaranteeing many more years of locking and providing safety to the residents of the Upper Ohio Valley. This video was made possible in part by a grant from the sons and daughters of Pioneer Rivermen's J. Mack Gamble Endowment Fund. Special thanks to the Pittsburgh District Army Corps of Engineers, the Ohio Valley River Museum, and Fred McCabe for their help in making this documentary possible.